I'm Sue Mcgarvie. Thanks for inviting me to do this. I'm actually quite flattered. I've been a sex therapist since 1993. It seems like the crust of the earth was still warm when that happened. I'd be great for this program. I got it cold. Thing about me is I'm a compulsive course taker, and I've probably read 70% of all the mainstream publications on sex and relationships that's been published in the last 15 years. I don't know, you pan around, you see nothing but books everywhere. And I don't know anybody else that's doing that. The other thing is I've literally, without exaggeration, spoken to 10,000 people about their sex life. I had a show on the third biggest market in North America, in Toronto, on CFRB, which is the biggest talk station, almost the biggest talk station in the continent, but certainly the biggest one in Canada. I've been on in the UK and in Ireland and in most of the major markets in Canada as well as in the US. What else? I got it cold. I know what's going on. I really know what people need, and I'm somebody's sister. I am somebody's sister, but it's about being able to approach me in a way that I'm never shocked, and it's about being really non-judgmental. I don't think I have that gene in me. I really don't judge. I'm really curious about how people choose to rub their genitals together, because it's cool. And what we need to do is make it safe and comfortable for people to be able to talk about this in a way that's got humor and engaging and lets them get out, roll up their sleeves, and let's get sticky, because good sex is a little messy, at least in my opinion. So I would be great for this, and I have all of the things. I also did a television series for Global, which was one of the national broadcasters. Learned a ton about what worked and what didn't, and know that I can sort of translate that into really great content. Questions that I get from couples is people beat around the bush, and for a lot of couples, if they're really they aren't able to articulate to each other. I always say that you'd rather cut off your left arm than talk to somebody about what you want: harder, faster, deeper, slower, a little to the left, to the right, right? So it's really interesting when you have that idea to figure out what works for people, and to be able to say to them, I'm really turned on when you tie me up. Okay, how do you manifest that as a sex therapist? I have to say, okay, taking that from tying you up, people are like, okay, I have no idea where to start. None. I had a patient yesterday who drove in, and she's, struggling with a sort of a really very traditional marriage, wants to explore things. She says she's never had a vibrator, she's hardly ever reached orgasm. She's now in her mid-50s, and this is the mountain she doesn't want to die on. What do you do? And I often will go on field trips and take them to the sex shop and say, here's what I like. Here's this toy. Here's this #1 toy. Here's the Revibe. I like the little bullets. I often go to the hardware store and say, okay, this is the drop sheet you want to use in the bedroom. This is the vibrator that you plug in the wall, because 110 volts is so much better than batteries. And what does it mean, and how do you do it? One of the things that I see is a lot of people just really tentative. So what do you do in terms of tying up? And I give them the list of erotic things to do, and it's everything from Japanese rope bondage to tantric sex workshops, and how do you come up with ideas? So I send them out on road trips. But it's also able to say in a safe place, and my office is a safe place, I really don't like it when you do this, or I would really like you to do more of that. And being able to couch people to say it in a way that's loving, because sex is the way that you can kickstart the relationship. Dr. David Schnarch, who is a guru on sex therapists, talks about wall socket sex and why you can take, sort of life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And if you say, I would really like to try this, but you're afraid your wife, your partner is going to go, no way, you're crazy. But the cardinal rule about relationships are, especially sexual relationships, is you never do anything your partner really doesn't want to do, but you always try and please your partner. Sometimes they're not mutually exclusive, but those are things we can work on. And so when I'm asked people, and they ask me questions about, all of the things that they're the craziest fantasies, and the longer I'm a therapist, the more that I know that everybody's different, and the more that I know that everybody's got something kind of in the back of their mind, that they're worried that they're a pervert, or they're worried that they're kinky. And I spend my days trying to make sure that people don't feel like they're sick because they have sexual feelings. It's the way we're wired, a million years of evolution, and we need to be able to do that.